everybody to a very special segment of Horse Center tonight. I am Julie Ramgeet. I am your one and only host. I don't know, I've kicked everybody off or nobody wanted to join me. No, I'm just kidding. I just have a group of great ladies, some of my own, like I like to call them my people, even though I've never met them in person. We all come from the same heart. So help me welcome Ashley Lilley. We have Christina. I'm not going to tear your last name apart, Morse, and Dana Saul, who's been on our show before. I am going to let Dana start, give you a little intro, and then we'll go around the room of who these ladies are, the part they play with aftercare and the horses, and then we're going to get into some really good stuff. So Dana, welcome. Thanks for coming back on with us. Tell the people who don't know you who you are aside from being a racehorse trainer.
Well, I'm a mom and I show horses and I help place a lot of horses for trainers at Finger Lakes. And it's kind of what I do, and take a couple at the end of the year and, transferring them myself and transition them, and Ashley helps me. So it's kind of what
awesome.
I do. Yeah.
Awesome. So then we'll kick right over to Ashley. Ashley, thank you so much for joining us. And I got the connection through Dana. Let the people know who you are and the part you play in the horse industry.
So I ride and compete. I've done it since I've been a little kid. And Dana and I met probably about 5 years ago. And I've started buying horses exclusively from her. I take probably 50 to 70 a year from her, and I think, gosh, we've probably placed close to 300-400 horses together.
Wow, that's incredible. Okay, and then that leads us to our last but certainly not least lady in the room, Miss Christina, who I've had the pleasure in touching base with, who's helped me with the latest rescue that I had to help get out of a bad situation. Welcome, thank you for being here, and tell the people a little bit about yourself.
So I am a registered nurse. I'm a hospice nurse, but horses and thoroughbreds in particular have always been my passion. I got involved with thoroughbreds when I was in my late teens, got my first horse off the track when I was about 16 and a half and been hooked ever since.
Love it.
And my part in aftercare, my daughter and I, we do exclusively thoroughbreds. We've shown and gone to RRP. But what we do is we foster for rescues, and we also get involved in pulling them out of the kill pens and auctions.
Okay.
And awesome. Rehabbing them and networking them. And we've taken some directly off the track. Dana actually knew one of the horses that we had. He raced 150 times. War horses and the broodmares are my passion.
Yes, and you've shared some of your stories with me, which are just incredible. And we'll definitely get into that. All of you ladies are just incredible beings and humans. And I just personally want to say thank you. If nobody else has ever thanked you, you matter. And the things that you're doing in this sport for the horses is so very important. So getting into that, Christina, I've got you here. So we'll start with you. Mm-hmm. Tell the people about the importance of proper placement after racing this day and age.
Well, horses, they're actually only one bad owner away from the pipeline. Most horses do get responsibly placed after racing. A lot of race owners and trainers, they take great care. I know Dana does, Ashley does. You want to place your horses in good homes. It's what happens after that. Some of them are at risk. People may not realize what they've gotten themselves into. Some people check all the boxes, and then the next thing 3 or 4 months later, you see a horse in a bad situation. There are some people that their horses are at risk when they're done. But, for the most part, everybody likes to place their horses responsibly.
Right.
But I come in when they end up in a really bad situation. And that's, right. I have a network of people that I work with. And it's a lot. It's a huge effort with a lot of different people.
So, touch on, we say most of us want to do the right thing. Most of us try. And sometimes, I'm just going to say it, shit happens, right? Where the horse might have been properly placed or so they thought, and they did their due diligence, and somehow, somewhere, the horse gets in bad hands and ends up somewhere else. talk about how we're in 2023, okay? We're not in the 80s, the 90s, even the 2000s anymore, where the aftercare programs that are now available they weren't even existent. So, talk about it being when I want to key on the importance of proper placement is it being inexcusable to not find a proper option or do the best for your horse, whether they're making you money or not. I feel like that needs to be keyed in on the importance of knowing that there's so many other options and help and aftercares and things now. Do you want to speak on that a little bit?
Well, a lot of the tracks have programs. I know Finger Lakes has, Finger Lakes Finest. There's a lot of the track. Charlestown has their program. The Maryland tracks have programs. New York does. It's getting people to utilize them. There are some there's some trainers that do utilize them a lot, but then there's other trainers that don't, or owners.
Right.
But, there needs to be accountability for owners and trainers whose horses repeatedly show up in bad places.
Absolutely.
And that's all I'm going to say on that. But there needs to be accountability.
For sure.
There's a lot of organizations, you've got TCA and TAA. There's a lot but a lot of the rescues are full, and it's funding, it's expensive. And especially when they come out of a bad situation, like the kill pens and the auctions, these horses need a lot, as you know.
Yeah.
They need a lot when they come out. They're broken, and, they've got a lot of issues. So I've got 3 fosters right now that are one I'm picking up in quarantine in New York on Friday, but 2 fosters right now that we've worked really hard to get back.
Amazing. And a true angel. And for those watching, if you're my friend on social media, I know you've seen me post about Ben. It was, in fact, Dana put me in contact with Christina, who put me in contact with some other wonderful ladies that don't want to, the attention or names out there. But I couldn't have saved this horse without you, especially Christina. You put me in contact with the woman who really helped me get where he got pulled. Mm-hmm. And what I'm saying there is I feel like that's still a problem. I feel like the aftercares are there, but they're not there enough. I feel like there's stipulations and there's now criteria that I've been personally told that certain horses don't meet the criteria to be saved. And then you get in a situation where, okay, what do? You have to go in as a human and save the horse yourself. And not everybody's able to do that because it's expensive. I mean, hell, we fundraise to get Ben out. Yep. I mean, that's the reality of that situation. It's easier to put him in the right spot early on than the landslide of hill you have to try to climb to get them out once they're in. And I now that we're face to face, I do want to give you a thank you from the bottom of my heart for helping.
Most welcome.
Everything you did. He's out in the field. He's still recovering. He came to me, this is a racehorse, guys. This is a horse that is a winner. And he did not meet the criteria of his aftercare here, and he was quote unquote too old to be saved. I couldn't let that happen. And I pulled in the army and we made it happen. And, I don't know if we'll ever ride him. I don't know if we'll do anything, but I can look out there and say I did something good for a horse that should have been done good for long before me. Right. So it's tough. And I mean, we're not here to bash any aftercare program. We want it, but I think that we want it to be, I think for me personally, it needs to be a little bit more, the rules need to be a little bit more easier for people to play with, to really get the help that they need. So, I'm going to kick off to Ashley now that we're into that we're talking about kill pins. Ashley, you were brought to me by Dana as well. And I said before we got on, she told me that you were a little bit of a spitfire, hold no bars kind of gal. And I said, that's what I want. I want her. But all for good reason. And you have, and that type of energy and passion is needed and appreciated and needs to be more appreciated. So what Christina was just talking about, them ending up in bad spots. Why don't you let the people, and keep in mind that a lot of people that are watching this show are educating themselves. They're not race trackers. Tell them about the harsh reality of when one of these horses does end up in a bad spot, whether it be a kill pin or a situation you really need to get them out of, and how hard it is in that moment to really save and do right for the horse.
It's really tough. it's tough when you can find them in the kill pens. It's tough when they've been turned over to that and you can't find them. You meet some people that you think are in it for the good of the horse, and really those people are just lining their pockets, and they send you on a wild goose chase. Oh, the horse is here, or the horse is there, and you're spinning your wheels trying to find the horse and just help the horse while these people are playing on your heartstrings. And I got into, I kind of had a crash course on taking horses out of the kill pen, and my friend Christy Drenton and I pulled 13 at once over the course of probably 3 weeks, and it was a lot. You have to find places to put these horses. You have to make sure they're being quarantined. You don't know what issues they're dealing with, if they're starving, if they now have heart murmurs because of it. It's just a long road and a lot of money and a lot of heartache sometimes.
A lot of heartache. And I want you to touch on that. We're not superheroes. I personally sat in bed in shambles crying when I didn't think I was going to be able to get the bin out, the one of the 3 that was left. So tell them about the reality of, we want to help, but sometimes I think we're hurting ourselves. I know I had to take a step back there for a second, kind of regroup, take a deep breath, and go back at it again, because it's brutal trying to deal with some of these people at the kill lots.
It's exhausting. I mean, mentally, physically, it's emotionally and financially draining. They see you coming from a mile away, and for instance, when we went to go pick up one of the loads of horses, we were told, I believe it was $1,800 for 3 horses. Well, I get there and they say, oh, well, it's $1,800 per horse. And it was the worst feeling in the world, because I had to turn around and leave without the horses because I wasn't prepared. And, it's a money grab. And so unfortunately, those horses sat for another 2 weeks until the kill buyer finally said, okay, come and get them. And they weren't being fed. It was an awful situation. And it really takes a toll on you.
Absolutely.
I give the people that do it all the time a lot of credit, because I don't know how they do it.
Listen, I mean, I would tell you, after my last go round, I had to take a step back from even following the kill pins, even though I want to so bad, as I'm actively in this search, and then I almost got swarped into this vortex of, oh my God, who else is in there? You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, you really have to you got to take a step back, because the sad reality, folks, is there's way too many that we can save. I mean, and then you feel like you did something good, and then it pops back up on my page. There's another one that I'm like, are you kidding? Yeah. And I think it's, if each of us did our real due diligence on putting the horse first, like I said, shit does happen. There's bad in every entity you go in life. There's good and bad. Where there's good, there's always bad. But I personally think, being in it my whole life, the good outweighs the bad with the people in this industry. And I think if we came together at a stronger front and said, this shit's unacceptable, stop making excuses, stop saying, oh, well, we need proof, we need this. Listen, if you've got people handing you proof or any type of paperwork saying, here's a man or a woman that's been a repeat offender, why do we, and now we're taking a step away from the horse and going back into racing, why do we as racing want that?
You don't.
Okay, we don't.
And those people do put a black cloud on it. I do feel fortunate. I think that Dana and I have tried to be almost a bridge before horses get to that point. Horses that have issues, that have injuries, going up to those trainers before, they're ready to just be done with those horses and say, right, I will take them. What do you need for those horses? I will take them, and, give them a good home, and try to prevent at least a good number of horses from entering, a bad situation or being placed with someone that may not have the knowledge or the expertise to handle some of those things.
Absolutely. Well, very well said. And we'll get back to you. I want to pull Miss Dana in. Let me get you over here, Dana, and unmute you. Okay, Dana is she's been with us before, and we've picked her brain about her career as a racehorse trainer and being married to a jockey and just that whole realm. So now you're going to get it from the other end from me, Dana. How is it for you? Because I feel like, I know me being married to a rider, and I do love the sport and all this, it's kind of a double-edged sword at times, and it has to be the same for you. Here you're an active trainer, and you're also doing your due diligence to help save some of these horses. So how is that for you when you're in a sport, you're loving your game, but then you see the kind of downside, the truth to what some of these horses really end up like?
Well, I'm super fortunate because the trainers that I help do sell or place horses, they retire them before it's, their last race, or like before their run where they, don't have much left, or before they get hurt, or it's really nice that they come to me and like, it hasn't hit the board in a couple of starts, he or she, they need to go on to a better, sport, and so and then you see some trainers that, you want to go sell the horses for, and you want to help, and, and they don't want your help. So
Right.
It's really hard, and it's like a fine line that you have to walk. And, that's a really good question. It's just really hard.
It is. I deal with it myself. I mean, I grew up in the sport. I've done everything from galloping to groom to, I just now stepped back and took my husband's book. So I'm now back as a jocks agent, and I love it. I love the sport. I love the game. I love watching it. But then I'm on the outside catching horses that I feel like my frustration comes from, there should be more preventative measures in place at the track. And what I mean and I don't mean one track, I mean across the board. This is something that, we have HISA trying to govern how many whips our riders get. How about we get HISA to govern a real, I don't even know the right word, but just something, a common ground for aftercare in the United States. The whole stipulation of the age and when they ran and all that shit, that to me should be irrelevant. Right. I mean, if they ran and they made money at your track, how are they not worth trying to help? I don't get that. That's where I get frustrated. So what changes do you feel like need to be made now? Because we've seen a lot, and I think we're headed in the right direction, but that's why we're here talking about it, to maybe inspire and create more, right? What change do you feel like could be put in place now to help the aftercare programs that are already available to do more for the horses?
Well, for Finger Lakes, we're really fortunate. We have a lot of outlets. We have the adoption barn. We're the first racetrack to have that. We have Finger Lakes Finest, which comes around for free, a volunteer service.
I'm going to cut you off there because I have never heard about the adoption barn. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so we have an on-site adoption barn right at the racetrack, and trainers can take horses down there. There's, so many spots for geldings and fillies, and you pay to take them down, and they place them, and they're great. We have a ride around the track. We do that in like September. People bring their horses in. They ride around the track, and all donations go to Adoptions Barn. It's so nice.
That's amazing. That adoption barn thing, that's amazing. Hearing that's why can't we do that everywhere? That's kind of the premise of the show, right? To inspire some new ideas and some new things. And if Finger Lakes can do that, I feel like we should be doing that everywhere. I mean, that's a great idea.
It's wonderful. People come in, they watch the races, they can go to the adoption barn, they can pet the horses, they can look around, they can learn a little bit. We have a lot of fundraising for it, and activities and silent auctions. Like it's wonderful. And Finger Lakes Finest is a volunteer service that comes backside and lists horses for you, and they give you, you put your number, and we couldn't do it without them. They're wonderful too. And before that, it was so hard placing horses, and now they have a huge following, so it makes it even better. It's, Finger Lakes is really a step in the right direction.
What
I
is-
wish,
what's
you know,
their take on what's their take? And I'm asking because I don't know. I'm familiar with PNGI or maybe Louisiana or West Virginia. What's their take when they find one in a bad spot? Do they
Yeah.
really give in?
Yeah. I don't believe too many trainers that I know of have had that happen, but they're pretty strict about it. You know, we try to hold that reputation of, you know, our horses come first, and Finger Lakes really does that. So like I said, we're kind of blessed that way.
Absolutely, you are. That's amazing. And you know what? Anybody watching on any networks with any tracks, I think that's a great idea. Why aren't we doing that? You know, I mean, I know we're taking riders out of checks for, you know, maybe guild fees, or we're taking or riders out of checks, sorry, money out of riders' checks for the guild or disabled riders, and they are taking them now off for aftercare. So your riders are also helping support it. I know that happens here.
Yep, that happens at Finger Lakes too.
I feel like, but them creating a barn or something where you can kind of see that where the money's going, they're trying to help, they're doing something, they're active, you know, I love that. I do want to get to a few comments. We've got a lot coming in. I haven't gotten to any. Grandma Horse Racing, she said they are retired athletes and they should be treated that way. I agree completely, and I'm pretty sure everybody here does. Eli Hess says Finger Lakes Park is awesome. I don't know. I've never been, but I'm going to make a trip. Go meet Dana one day.
Please.
So, okay. So that's really great to hear. Now, you know that that's not like that everywhere.
No,
right?
Unfortunately not.
Right. That's the sad reality. So when we talk about the horses and how to place them properly, why don't you touch on, before you even get to that point, the options available for these race horses after they're done, just job wise, not even talk about placement, but talk about the potential things that they could be used for. And I mean, even you could take it down to a horse that has an injury. Maybe they say, you know, this one can't be ran anymore. Tell the fans and the people watching what that can mean for them if it's not a life-threatening injury, what their life could look like after.
They can do anything. They're used to everything. They're used to tractors, starting gates, kids, adults, announcers, you know, crowds, music, you know, shipping everywhere. They're really used to everything. They make the best pony horses. I don't think I've ever owned a pony horse that's not a thoroughbred. And my daughter is 13. She has jumped on them first ride. You know, I know these horses, but they can do everything. I've taken them, some of my race horses, you know, we take them for a trail ride 45 minutes down the road. You know, I take them to a fun show. My daughter rides them and jumps them. Like, the possibilities are endless. Even just liberty work on the ground. They're so smart. They know everything. They're groomed, they're tacked every day. They're, you know, they're tied to a wall. They're handled and maintenanced and cared for. And I just think that thoroughbreds just are so universal in every aspect.
They are. And I feel like the people that are just watching just to watch and are learning more about horse racing, I feel like that really needs to be noted. First of all, we wouldn't have the sport we all love so much without the horse and the rider. And I feel like those are two entities that we really have to start putting first, right? Everybody gets lost on the money and the numbers, and we all need that too. But if we didn't have the horse and we didn't have the riders to ride them, where would we be? We wouldn't be sitting here talking about what to do better for them, right? So, but I think the attention has to be turned a little bit. I don't think it should be one way, one place, and different when you go, if you ship in somewhere else, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to turn to Miss Christina. We're going to come back to you. Why don't you've shared a few stories with me on some of the war horses and some of the horses you've personally gotten out of bad situations that you have sent me success stories on. Do you want to pick one special one and kind of share how maybe you went from save to just a wonderful story?
Well, the one that I sent you, Arctic Heat BB, he was older. He was 18, I think, and emaciated down at a kill pen in Pennsylvania and spotted by a rescue up in Vermont that we do a lot of fostering for. So she pulled him, and he ended up going directly from the kill pen right up to Tufts, which is a big, large animal hospital in my state of Massachusetts. And he spent, I think, a couple of weeks there, and he almost died because he had pneumonia.
Wow.
So they weren't sure if he was going to make it. So, we're on social media at night trying to raise the funds, reaching out to all of our people. Hey, can you reach out to your people? And because it's a huge network. It's not one person. It's a group of really, really dedicated people. And you're on your phone a lot. My husband's like, oh, what are you doing? Rescuing more horses again? I sit on my phone in bed.
Right.
But yeah, we ended up being able to get a bunch of people to, donate money. It was thousands of dollars. And then he came to my daughter and I, and we rehabbed him, and we found him a great home. And he's actually with a good friend of mine a few towns over, living the life with 2 other standard breds that she pulled out of a kill pen.
Wow. That's amazing.
A couple of goats, and he's living his best life.
Living his best life. And you get to get updates. I mean, and how that must make you be able to feel like, hey, I helped this horse, and look at him. He's thriving. He's happy.
Yeah. And then there was another one that the same rescue in Vermont, they pulled a mare out of Louisiana who had just raced. I think she had raced 2 or 3 weeks prior, was in one of the other notorious pens down there, pulled her. She went and quarantined and fostered in New York. And the person that fostered her actually took her to RRP. And she did great. And then not only that mare came out of the Louisiana kill pen, but a few weeks later, her dam showed up there.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So the same rescue pulled the dam, and she went and did quarantine, and then came to my daughter and I, and we rehabbed her, and she had a lot of baggage, and we rehabbed her for several months, put a couple of evaluation rides on her. She went back to the rescue and then went to another program that kept her for 6 months and did extensive work with her, and she got adopted.
Amazing.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. We got to save the whole family there. That's pretty, pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I have a question in here that I want to send it to Miss Ashley. Let me get you on here, Ashley, and unmute you. Okay. This is from Grandma Horse Racing. She says, with all the people out there who want to help, why are there kill pens? I don't understand. Do you want to touch on that?
My personal opinion is it's a money making opportunity. I mean, it's a big money making opportunity for the bottom feeders. I mean, that's the only way I can describe it. There's so many outlets, and there's so many people willing to help. For instance, the horses that I pulled, I had offered to take those horses a couple weeks prior. And it's easy. People are usually making good money at it. And they don't have to, if they've done something wrong or the horses don't look great, they don't have anyone to answer to. It basically is out of sight, out of mind. And for those bottom feeders, it's wonderful for them. I mean, that's the only way I can figure out why they're still around.
I mean, I don't think we as four sit here can really make it make sense, right? Because it to us, I don't think it would ever make sense. We don't eat horse meat in this country. It's not a delicacy, but unfortunately that's the reality. I guess it's still shipped off. I don't know. I don't get into it that far. I don't really want to know, but it's definitely bottom feeders. I mean, and it's a silent place that some of these guys can still go drop their horse. You sadly still have kill pens. Some of them don't even want the papers if they do. I noticed that's a new thing. You've got thoroughbreds going in. They're listed as quarter horses because they don't want people to come in and check, hey, who's that? Do a lip flip, let me find out the connections. It's bullshit. It's sad. I encourage anybody who doesn't know the reality, just get on Facebook, look up a kill pen lot in Louisiana, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, find one, scroll through, just get a taste of the reality of what does happen every single day. And we're not here to say that it's everybody. It doesn't happen. There are good people, like Dana touched on. She said, she doesn't have that experience with many people of her own, but it's still existing. It's happening too fast. I know personally for me to keep up. Like I said, when I got the one out, I was like, oh my God, there's 5 more that I want to, you know what I mean? That, and there's not enough us for how fast they're coming in. So
No.
it's bullshit. You have Terry TD, he's a jockey. We love him. He said with all the money that HISA has gotten from the fines that they've given out, they should give a percentage of that money for aftercare. Agreed. I don't know if you were on here. Yeah, when you were, I don't know if you heard Terry when I was talking and said, you know, if they can tell you guys how many times to hit a horse, why can't there be a standard across the board in the United States for help with the horses? Okay, so if aftercare can't fund every single horse, do something like Dana was talking about with you know, the adoption barn. Make it do it's there's so many other things, or link up with the local farm. You know, I'm very close to the track. You know, hey, can you help us if we, you know, as maybe a quarantine place or a foster barn to help us until we can help them. I just feel like it's not fair to say who deserves saving.
No, and I think your repeat offenders need to have more serious consequences, you know, and not just with horses ending up in kill pens, but you see some patterns, you know, of people getting in trouble. And I feel that needs to be looked at. You know, that's the whole reason why we have this program in place. And I just feel like it's kind of falling short there when they could really be doing a good job and helping out the industry.
Agreed. And I've said this before, and eventually I might make a t-shirt because I've said it so many times, but I feel like the tables really shift in this industry for the horses when people in positions of power are horsemen.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
I mean it. You get, you know, and you don't have to have a bleeding heart to do the right thing, folks. You know, that's not the message. But I think when you're mixing money and you're mixing, you know, big money, and you're mixing horse racing, and you got people that could do more, you look to those people for help. And I know personally, I've got a lot of silence from some of the people I've tried to reach up higher up, and all I can think of is they don't get it. They don't understand. They don't care because they've never been in it. You know, they don't see it from a horseman's perspective at all. We have somebody agreeing. Eli says, yes, Ashley, find the repeat offenders. They're not hard to find. I don't know if you meant fine or find, but they're not hard to find. Grandma Horse Racing says the government has a shitload of land they could pasture to until adoption. Hey, you know, I mean, anything's really possible. I think what it is just throwing out ideas. And I really, it's why I wanted to do this show. I'm hoping that, you know, it kicks up some things where we can do it once a month, you know, and bring in just people to educate those who don't know, because it's so important. And we need more people than us just and Christina on her bed, on her phone, trying to save horses all night. I feel like if we start educating the people that love racing, maybe we can get the love for the horse to come back, and maybe it'll take some pressure off the people trying to catch them all.
And I feel like there's plenty of options for people to help. You know, maybe it's not financially, maybe it's not, you know, providing a stall or care or anything like that, but everyone can help in one way or another, you know, whether it's networking or, you know, donating feed, or, you know, just some way people can always offer to some help. And
Absolutely.
I don't think people are always aware of that. They see, oh, well, there's a horse in a kill pen. How do I help? I mean, certain rescues have fundraising and things like that, but I think there's more that can be done to help these horses.
Absolutely. And, you know, I don't judge anyone, but it's really hard for me not to judge the people that are in the kill buyer industry. I know you were talking about the runaround that you got with the horses that, you know, you tried to rescue and then had to come back. I mean, you know, when I first got into it, I thought, you know, okay, I got to bail this horse out. So you got the fee. No, it is so not that. First of all, I had to talk to 5 different people just to make sure that was the fee. Then they wanted to know who I was sending to pick up the horse, because some of these places, they don't even want certain people on them trying to come and save the horses. As screwed up as that sounds, they're more worried about the dollar than they're more worried about the rig pulling in to take the horses out.
Yeah.
Than the horse is actually leaving. And it's extremely frustrating. And And then, and as far as rescuing goes, you have the quarantine, and Christina, you helped me so much with that, down in North Carolina with Ben. But it's a full process. It's exhausting. It's not just, oh, look, this horse is on Facebook, needs to be rescued. We can raise $1,000 and then he's going to great life. Most of these horses that have been standing in there for a couple weeks are pretty traumatized. So I think when we go to cheer on, the Derby's coming up, when we go to glorify racing, and we go to cheer our friends and family members on that maybe, are in the sport, we have to take a step back and make sure we're all putting the horse first across the board. And that starts from us, you, Dana, spreading that message and just encouraging our peers to do the right thing, because it's past the point of being, there's no excuse. There's absolutely no excuse. Now, when you talk about some things happen, and I've seen good people have horses end up in bad places. And when I say good people, I mean people that I know would never allow their horse to be, willingly in a bad spot. I do want to touch on that and say some of these people, some of these trainers, if I've seen and have contact immediately, as soon as they know, they'll do everything. They'll pay the bail. They'll make sure the horse gets, So I do want to say that. Thank you to those that do step up and say, hey, no, we don't, even... They're not worried about what they look like. They're just worried about getting the horse safe. And I think that's
really
and that's
good.
When right? When it's a repeat offender, and when it's somebody who it was an oh shit, that's not supposed to happen. Because if it's not supposed to happen and they find out, they're going to try to help.
Absolutely. And I've talked to, owners, breeders, trainers that, haven't seen the horses in 10 years. And I've made phone calls, and within 10 minutes, the horse is already spoken for. It's pretty, there's a lot of really good people out there. And I feel like sometimes the industry is overshadowed by some of these repeat offenders that really give a bad name.
Right. But we do it to ourselves. Cut them out. Cut them out. If you've got proof of somebody repeatedly doing the same thing over and over again, and then you're more worried about just standing up and saying, we don't want you here, instead of trimming the fat. I feel like any racetrack that does that and says, hey, we caught this guy dropping X, Y, and Z off multiple times, or we have whatever it is, the horsemen are going to rally around that track and say, good job. Thank you. Thank you so much. We don't want to be a part of that, because that's the black eye we get when we sweep shit under the rug and we let it keep happening and happening. Then you get the crazy people, no offense, but PETA and people wanting to roll around on the racetrack during the day. Well, that's because it's been fucking building and escalating for for too long. Yeah. And excuse you guys, I'm passionate about it. If you know me here, I'm very uncensored, and I'm not going to be tonight. So if I'm dropping F-bombs, it comes from the heart, and it's all love. But
all for the good of the horse.
It's all for the good of the horse. And so I do, we took 38 minutes and we talked about the harsh reality. So I did that to educate you guys, the people watching that do not know, and if you're in it, but the people who aren't watching, I wanted you all to really realize, do your research, do your education, learn about the latter end of it, because it's serious and we need more help, and we need to bring more attention to it. Now let's flip it a little bit. Still on the same, same stretch here, but the next couple minutes, tell us about a happy story, Ashley. Tell us about something, maybe a racehorse from the track that maybe touched your heart special, or just tell us something good.
I think my favorite one I bought was a horse that was purchased on a claim, and no one knew it at the time of the claim. He had a condylar fracture, and they didn't do surgery after they claimed him. They turned him out, and Dana put me in contact with the trainer, and she's like, see if he'll let you buy the horse and, take him home and, turn him into a sport horse. And he did. And I ended up giving the horse away to a girl, and she got him with about a month or two for RRP to train for it. I mean, it was last minute, and he ended up going and he won the competitive trail, and he came in, I think, in the top 3 for ranch work.
Amazing.
It was really, really cool. We called him Fracture Frank.
I love it. That's so cool.
Yeah. So a lot of people would have looked at him and said, oh God, I can't, those are that's scary, you know,
Right,
a condylar fracture. And he was great. You know, he never took a bad step. And everyone has loved him. I mean, he's just a big teddy bear. So
I love that. That's pretty incredible. And let me ask you, do you ride?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm a 3-day eventer by
Okay.
heart. You know, that's what I love to do. I have galloped at the track when the track was open here in Michigan.
Okay.
I spend a lot of time up at Finger Lakes and watching the horses, you know, work at the track. I love it. I've kind of gone a little backwards, you know, from the sport horse world into racing. And
Right. It's easy to do.
but,
It's easy to do.
yeah. So I love it. I love, you know, starting all of them and, you know, kind of seeing where they'll fit in best. And, you know, just having people message me, you know, months, years after they get them and just raving about them, you know, like they just got them for Christmas. So
I love it. And you know, that's gotta feel good. How do you go about, now you said between you and Dana, you guys have helped, you know, save or place several hundred. How do you go about keeping track?
most people reach out to me probably monthly, or periodically every couple of months. If I haven't heard from them, you know, I message them and see how the horses are doing. And Facebook is a wonderful tool because most of the time it just pops up in your feed and you can see exactly what the horses are doing. And it's great. You know, it's a lot of people, you know, will tag when they go to a show, you know, they'll tag me in their posts, and I love it. It's probably my favorite part of the job.
Absolutely. That is the best when you see them doing, you know, great things. That's amazing. All right, Miss Dana, I'm bringing you back in here. Listen, guys, I'm getting really good at this whole group show thing. I'm just turning and burning. Okay. So, all right, Dana. So now share a little bit of a story you want to tell us. I see your horses on Facebook. I see Posy, and I'm drooling. I don't need another one. Don't need another one. But if I did, I would have already messaged you because he's so gorgeous. Talk a little bit about maybe a thoroughbred that, you know, has touched your heart along the way, and with an aftercare situation that you've personally taken and done something different with.
Probably my favorite is Big Shot in the News. He retired at 12. He had 129 starts. I made him into a pony horse, and he was probably one of my greatest achievements. No one really thought that he would become a pony horse or really do what he did for me. And he was super special. I lost him last year to cancer.
Aww.
So that was really, really tough for me. I waited a long time to get him. The trainer finally had come to me and was like, come get him after the race. He went wire to wire and win his last race.
Aww.
And Jose, my fiance, probably won like 4 or 5 races on him through his career. So he was pretty special to me. They're all special. The war horses, they really, they hit a spot, and they are like no other. There's, I don't know, there's just so many that touched my heart in different ways. So
well, let me ask you about Posy. I went from seeing him for sale to on your Western tack. Are we keeping him? Has he made himself at home, or what's the deal there?
I don't need another pony, but
well, listen, if you did, he's a good looking one.
Yeah, he's still a stallion. He's still a colt. So we'll have to see about that and making him a pony. But he's wonderful. He's a Mission Impassable, which I seem to collect and that I love. And Ashley's a really bad influence. She's like, keep him. You know, you can keep him with one more. And I'm like, I don't even own a farm. I can't do this. But no, as long as they're with me, you know, a month, 3 years, it's just the transition is so much fun for me, and whoever gets them next, their enjoyment, just seeing them is just everything, really.
Makes it worth it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna jump all over. Let's see, Miss Christina, back in here one more time before we wrap things up tonight. We've got a question from a fan, and I'm gonna send it to you. Let's see. Why are horses given to kill pins?
it's a collection place for the unwanted ones, really. I mean, people, they send them to auctions. And unfortunately, in the stands at most of these auctions are the kill buyers. And some of these kill buyers actually own part of the auctions. All these people that are like, oh, don't buy from kill pens, don't support the kill pens, go to auction and intercept them there. Well, the sad reality is that a lot of these auctions in the stands are the kill pens, bidding up the rescues, bidding up the private buyers, and then, laughing all the way to the bank.
Yep.
So like Ashley said, it's a money-making venture, and then you've got some of these notorious trainers and owners that their names are all the time. You see the horse, look at the name, and you're like, yep.
And I think
there are some tracks that turn a blind eye to what they know. They just don't enforce, and there needs to be accountability.
Absolutely.
Like banning, like a lifetime ban.
Yeah, and I think
all their friends, all their family, everybody, because
and I think
they'll race under somebody else's name.
That question was saying, why are horses given to kill pens? It's because they're still able to give them to kill pens. Okay, that's really what it is. It's a quick dump for
multi-million or billion-dollar industry.
Yeah,
and I mean, these guys that are running these places, they're getting fined by DOT for inhumane shipping, and it doesn't matter. There's not enough enforcement.
Absolutely. And I can't imagine ones that have to stay there for a very long time. Ben stood in there for the one in North Carolina, I want to say for maybe 3 weeks. I still have a hole in the side of his ankle above the pastern that I'm still trying. It's a hole. I mean, I've never seen such shit in my life. It's getting better, and it's gotten a lot better. But I mean, you saw on the pool pictures, I mean, he was standing up to his ass in mud.
Disease-ridden. And that's why quarantine is so important. I do 45 days of quarantine, and before they're picked up, they're swabbed for everything. A full respiratory panel. They're seen by a vet a couple times, and I do a minimum of 45 days of quarantine. You can't be too careful.
Yeah. So I split my quarantine because I was in a weird position. I had this horse in Carolina with people that I only knew through you all, and they were freaking angels, and they were talk about a system of people. I mean, we've got Massachusetts, we've got Michigan, we've got New York. I'm in West Virginia. I've never physically met these women, but I tell you what,
it's incredible.
The rally
that
helped me
incredible.
In that moment was more than I felt from anybody that I actually knew.
It's a whole network.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, truly, truly amazing. And the quarantine thing, I had to split it. He did a week down there, and then I brought him up to the farm. He shipped up by himself, brought him up to the farm, and then he quarantined here at the farm for the next 3 weeks. We quarantined him for a month, had him checked and vaccinated, the whole nines, and now he's actually reunited with an old buddy that was also I rescued 2 years ago from the same guy. So they've remembered each other, and they are just like side by side in the field all day, and it's beautiful, but it's sad. It's sad to watch, but I'm just thankful I was able to do something, and just so thankful I met you. Dana, you're amazing for, connecting me to who I need. I think I was just in pure panic. And I was like, help me, somebody help me. And then the messages started coming, and Dana was like, message this person, this lady. I was like, I couldn't have done it without you guys. So very thankful for your help on my situation and everything that you guys do. Grandma Horse Racing came back and said, that's bullshit. We agree. But we're so happy that we're able to educate. Grandma Horse Racing always says, here she is right here. She says, HR team, give me another education. Thanks, ladies. And that's what we're here to do. Open the minds and tell people the truth. We got to talk about the truth a little bit to make it better. Eli says, I have absolutely no connection to racing except a fan. And I know some of the repeat offenders, so the officials must know them.
They do.
Yeah. They do. So, okay, we're at almost an hour. I said I wouldn't keep you guys. Is there anything specifically you would like to say, Christina, a message out to the racing industry or just the fans about the horse before we go?
Well, they're incredible athletes. And like Ashley said, they can do anything. And honestly, I think RRP has done a great job of showcasing these horses. And I'm really looking forward to the broodmare division this year because we've got a really special one that if we can get her rehabbed in time, she's kind of a hot mess right now, but if we can get her rehabbed in time, she'll go. So,
Amazing.
And then we've got a war horse to bring down too that raced 102 times.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, definitely keep us posted. Send me the stories, send me the updates. And I'm hoping that, this is something we're trying to advocate for the mental health on the rider side. I'm also trying to advocate for the horse. I'd like to do something like this monthly. If you guys have any great people that you would like to show their face and have them speak on it, send them my way. I'd love to talk to them. I'm open to meeting any more people like you all. You are my people. I love you guys so much, seriously, because it's nice to know that there's other people in the world that care as much as I do. And I was a little defeated when I was going through that. You guys made me know I wasn't alone. And then seeing the work that you all have done made me feel like, Jesus, my that was a hill to your mountains. So just kudos to you, Christina. Please try not to stay up in bed all night because you got to get some rest, girl, because you do a lot. But
when you do your best networking is at about 11 o'clock at night.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
But no, seriously. Thank you for everything that you do. Keep doing it. And, God sees you and we see you and I love you and I appreciate it. And the horse does too. So thank you so much for being here tonight.
You are most
Won't go
welcome.
anywhere yet. I'm going to wrap up with the other two ladies first. Dana, is there anything you want to wrap up the show with? A message you want to put out there about the horse?
I just want to thank the trainers at Finger Lakes for doing always, that I place horses for always doing the right thing and giving me the opportunity to transition horses into with their next people. And Ashley, she has helped me and so much. I don't think I could have done it without her. She has placed so many in the right homes and she always has a return policy and you can't go on with the horse or you need to, you need another outlet. She always takes them back. And just honestly, I'm just proud of Finger Lakes for having the adoption barn and having a really solid aftercare placement.
Yes. Amazing. I would love to get up there this summer and get to come and see it myself. And, say thank you. You say thank you to the trainers. Well, thank you to you for being one of those trainers that cares and seems to put the horse first. It shows that you can enjoy the sport and still be a good human, guys. And standing up for what's right doesn't mean you're bashing the sport you love. Okay. That's the reality. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And when it comes to the horse and this stuff, there really is no gray area. So thank you for also being one of those trainers and just showing people, how to do it the right way. I love to see it. And I obviously am obsessed with Posy, so I'll be just following your Facebook, watching you, and we'll definitely be in talk soon, and we'll get back together. But all right, let me kick off. Let's see, Miss Ashley. Let me unmute her. Ashley, it's been a pleasure. I did not meet you previously as I did Christina, but I've heard amazing things. Anything you want to say before we leave out to the world watching?
I just want to mirror what Dana said. It really has been game-changing to have such wonderful owners and breeders and trainers that really care about their horses, go above and beyond, stop on them, before that one last race syndrome, and, really give their horses an opportunity to have a full second career, and someone can enjoy them for a long time. I think it makes all the difference. They really care, and that's amazing because you don't get that everywhere.
You don't, and you guys really care, and that's why I'm honored to have you guys here and put your faces out, and just to say thank you, and just to show the world that, unfortunately, Dana has a great situation. It sounds like Finger Lakes is doing their due diligence to help. I was in a situation where I had to call the cavalry help, and you guys came, so. Thank you. And it's not just me. I mean, that's this reality with many other places. Sometimes it's the people on the outside, the real horse lovers that are really in there doing what's right and trying to make things right. So thank you, ladies. You guys are amazing. We did have a couple more compliments. Let's see. Oh, look, Eli said he's excited. Broodmare is a great addition to the RRP, Christina. So that's super exciting. We're excited to see. And then let's see. I saw a good comment here I wanted to post back. I can't find it, but they called us all Wonder Woman. So thank you. So yeah, it's been a pleasure. I plan on being in touch with all of you ladies in the future and having you back on. Keep me posted, keep me updated, send me good stories. You know, we'll share it with the fans. We love a good RRP story or a good rescue story. So keep doing what you're doing, and thank you. Thank each and every one of you. Dana, let me unmute you. Thank you.
Thank you
for connecting me with these women. And I know that you have more. I can't wait to meet. And hopefully the next time I talk to you guys, it's not in pure panic, okay? If I open your inbox at like after 11, be worried. We're on the move. We're trying to save somebody. But hopefully it's all for fun. So
yeah, please come visit.
Yeah, no, I definitely am gonna have to make. You're not too far from me. You're really not too far. So I need to get up there this summer for sure. And I'd like to just do maybe a segment on the adoption barn. I think that's really cool and could inspire more tracks to do something like that. So very, very, very cool. So thank you, ladies. I'll be in touch and I'll be watching. And yeah, it was a pleasure. And we'll talk again soon.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, they are rock stars, each and every one of them. I'm blessed to call them my friends now and say that I know them. Awesome people. You know, if you guys have the pleasure of having horses, whether it be on the track or off the track, do the right thing, folks. Put them first. And if you can't put them first, that's okay. Life happens, but there's other people that can and will help you be able to do that or make sure that they're in a safe place. Sometimes the quickest and fastest drop off or easiest outlet for you is not the best thing for the horse, and it always comes full circle. Grandma Horse Racing Angels, I love you, Grandma. You're so sweet. I will get to a couple comments here. Let's see. I followed one from the kill pen and the jockey stepped up and pulled him. We love to hear that. There are good people. There are good people in racing. And that's what we're here to say. You know, we want the good ones. We want to keep the good ones. And we don't need the repeat offenders. We don't. And I feel like the only way we can keep the industry alive and thriving is if we do just that. Trim the fat, reward the good ones, love on your horses, people. That's it from me tonight. It's Wednesday. That wraps up Horse Center. I'm sure Rich and I want to say Terry, maybe, don't quote me. I don't know. Usually Sean kind of gives you guys the rundown for what's coming up next with their picks. But check them out. They're always doing a live show, doing something, giving you guys the best picks you can get on Keeneland or whatever track they're covering. We've got some cool Hawthorne coverage coming up. We have some really cool stuff happening on social media. I was talking to Sean right before I got on. We're going to start doing some jockey takeovers on Instagram. So follow us on Twitter. Give us a like on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Come talk to us. Say hi. Ask us questions. Whatever you want to know. We love to talk back. We love educating you guys and being here to talk about the sport and what we love the most. So that wraps it up for me, you guys. Next week, you'll be here with Jamie. She's back in the saddle with Sean, and I'll be back the week after that. So that takes us wire to wire, and we will see. Actually, we won't, because I'm here. See, this is all scripted, right? I said we will. I'm used to Sean. We won't see you in the winner's circle, but I will. I will see you and all of my other friends at HRT in the winner's circle.